Hello, it is I, the muscular socialist Sean Eugene Boy, at your service, doing a Monday morning, so happy Monday morning, yeah. And it's the World Cup, but I'll go on about that later. So today, I'm not going to really take too much of your time up today, but what I want to talk about first is this book that's just come out that I have written called A Buried Treasure by Sean Eugene Boy. Buy it, please, I've got no money. And this book is pretty relevant actually, because it's about a community I come from, the Irish community, and the diaspora from the 1950s and 60s and their children, of which I am. You know, a kid brought up in the 70s and the 80s. And this book dwells on what it's like to come from one culture, quite a distinct culture like the Irish, and then kind of move into your new culture, you know, which was London society in the 70s and the 80s, and how you get on with it. And of course the Irish, immigration for the Irish has been going on to England, has been going on for about 300-400 years. All the way during that period, the Irish got, you know, let's not put too fine a point on it, a lot of stick, you know, all the way through, you know, Cromwell and the famine, etc. And coming across here, of course, you know, the Irish were just the butt of the jokes. I mean, the first joke I ever heard on the TV was an Irish joke, which I mentioned in the book. So that's not very nice, you know, and of course there was the IRA and all that kind of thing. But coming out of that culture, you know, where there was a lot of, you know, quite understandable anger towards the English, you know, the people who were dwelling among, you know, my generation, the second generation, we started to find our own way, you know, because we weren't Irish really. I mean, we had Irish parents, but we were culturally Irish, but we were English, you know. Like I said to my mate, who pays your dole? You know, it's not the Irish government, is it? That's a very 80s thing as well, because most of us were working while we were on the dole, but that's another story. But so the story is kind of dwelling on it. It's a very, very happy story in an odd way. It's like after a lot of, you know, generation after generation, the Irish finally have got, you know, got educated en masse. No one tells any Irish jokes anymore. You wouldn't really, I mean, London in the 80s was very, very Irish. I would say probably maybe about a quarter of the people in the city were paddies, or from a paddy background. Of course, that's completely changed now because we've all become English. I mean, look at me. You know, I've got the fucking rugby top on, you know. Terrible, isn't it, you know? Sold out my working class roots, big style. But, and it's just thinking, you know, this whole book is about the immigrant experience and how you move into the society, integrate, and then, you know, bring your own flavour to it, but at the same time push everything forward. And of course, Britain has been that kind of society since the Beaker people, you know. There's probably some fucker in Stonehenge going, those fucking Beaker people were coming across here with their beakers. You know what I mean? What's wrong with a wooden bowl? You know, that kind of, and we've been at it for ages. And what kind of prompted this for me was an interview with Stormzy with Louis Theroux that I saw this week, which was really good, you know. And he's kind of going through he's gone through the same kind of not genesis, you know, the same journey, you know. And it was really interesting to come from a pretty working class background, you know. And he said one of the things that was interesting for him is when he got an apprenticeship and he was working with a load of white working class guys and realised how different his culture was from theirs, you know, and whatever. But at the same time, he enjoyed it as well. And, you know, I came away from that interview going, well, that's the way it is for immigrants. I mean, I totally understand, you know, how people from minorities are, you know, pissed off and am I getting a good deal and all that. And of course, absolutely, everyone's got to fight their corner. But the journey in the book that I've just written is a journey that, in many cases, has a very positive outcome. Because what we should all realise is what we're fighting against, really. You know, because identity is going to sort itself out. It's class. You know, I mean, Stormzy's now moved into another class. He was there with Louis Theroux, and it was just funny that, you know, he's making money, he's fulfilling his dreams. And that's fantastic, that's brilliant, and he's a great geezer, do you know what I mean? But I always worry about the 80%, that's who, like, I keep on going on about, but it's the 80% you have to feel this connection to the country, connection to the people in power, connection to their lives. And again, it comes back to class. I mean, it's for Black Britons, since 1948 especially. But I mean, before that, there was a guy called William Cuffey who was a Chartist. There was Olaudah Equiano, in the 18th century. Frederick Douglass came here in the middle of the 19th century. But since then, we've had Darcus Howe, the great Stuart Hall, Kendi Andrews but also on the other side, we've had Priti Patel, we've had Kemi Badenoch, you've got Ash Shakur on the left, and then you've got Suella Braverman on the right. And I think I'm on the left, but I think that's the way it's got to be. I mean, when I was, my community wasn't a monolith. There was lefties like me in it, but I had mates of mine who were like really big on Thatcher, like working class guys from the States who loved Thatcher, but they were really pro-IRA. I could never fucking work that one out as it goes. But I think what I'm trying to say is that Britain at the moment is, at this wonderful place, I think. And I think the more that we realise that once we break it down, it is about the economics of it all. And that people at the same economic level need to look at each other in the eye and say, we've got tons in common. And look to the people who are doing quite well and say, dude, this is where the real big difference in society is happening. And we need to create a society where people can fulfill their dreams, like I was able to do, like Stormzy, like Ash Shakur, like fucking Suella Braverman, anyone can fulfill their dreams, but at the same time, it's not a zero-sum game where the 80%, just have really crap, boring, unfulfilled lives. So that's the 2 points of I want to bring up. Is one, buy my fucking book, please. 2, class over identity. I do understand about intersectionality, but I do think it's a bit of a cul-de-sac. And after seeing that Stormzy interview, I was thinking, well, we need to think about the brighter future, and that is based around class. And the third thing I want to talk about is Gareth Southgate. Don't fucking play 5 at the back today. We're playing Iran. Pick Maddison, pick Saka, pick Rashford. We can't defend for shit, mate. You know what I mean? So go 4-4-3 just for me. And fucking attack, because we're, on our day, we could mash anyone if we attack. But he won't do it, will he? Because he's a fucking yes man, and it'll be bloody Maguire, and we'll probably scrape a 2-1, won't we? But anyway, on the other side of the coin, let's be optimistic. Maybe we can win a World Cup, eh? That'd be great. That'd be good, just for Christmas. So anyway, have a lovely week, and talk to you again.